Okay, so I'm sure most of you must be thinking I am nuts for even having an entire lesson solely dedicated to setting up a simple green screen. I mean, all you need to do is throw a bunch of lights and you're done, right? Well, wrong. Green screen still needs some prep. You cannot just put it up, light it and call it done. In this lesson, I will discuss how to properly light a green screen indoors or outdoors. But first, before I divulge my secrets, let's see what our on-set soups have to say.
Well, if possible, I try to do it kind of old school. So I try to make sure that the green screen is lit as flatly as possible. Oftentimes, a large green screen, you may have to get a couple of good-sized lights, 1Ks or something, and what you try to do is make sure there isn't more light coming off the green screen. It's not overlit, it's not too bright, and it's not reflecting back into the scene at all if possible. That's why you have two 1Ks, one for the left and one for the right. You're just raking their light across the surface so that it's lit well, but then you measure it to make sure that it's not too bright and casting a lot of green spill into the scene. Given that, nowadays we can just throw up almost anything that's sort of green, poorly lit, dirty, who knows what all, wrinkled, and it's amazing what can get done with that.
You want to make sure that your green screens are large enough to cover what action you've got. You need to make sure that they are far enough away from the subject that that they are not being lit by whatever is going on the green screen. Let me see. You need to make sure you shoot a clean green screen plate. Otherwise, it depends all over the place on exactly what you're doing. And again, it should remind you that if you've got a yellow-haired lion chasing something else that's yellow, you should be using a blue screen, not a green screen. There's green, and you want a green that you know is going to work.
Alright, so first things first, let's start with an indoor green screen. Number one, make sure that the green screen is evenly lit. And you can do this either using the studio floodlights overhead or two Kino flows placed on both sides of the green screen area you will be using, making sure that they are facing inwards towards the area where your actor will be at rather than outwards and away from the main area of action. Number two, whether indoor or outdoor, make sure there are no shadows or creases on the green, even a different shade of green if you can help it. This is usually enough to affect the key, so it is best to try to get rid of all cast shadows with additional Kino flows shining strategically within that area in order to ensure that the shadows are eliminated. Number three, to help check that the green is the proper chroma shade of green, hold up a white sheet of paper against the green screen whilst wearing your magenta green glasses. If you see that the green on the green screen is almost close to the green shade on the white paper through your glasses, then you've got a proper chroma green setup for keying. Number four, if, and that is a large if, you are tracking, use markers that are either random in shapes or another keyable color in the form of crosshairs. If you want to go even more pro, you can print out from online through a Google search of fiducials visual effects. Some, tracking markers known as fiducials. Now you might be curious why they call them fiducials. Unfortunately, accurate history on that has been hard to find, so just know that they are another form of tracking markers or something used as a point of reference or measurement. Now that pretty much covers indoor green screens, so what about outdoor green screens? Well, you have less control of an outdoor lighting environment than an in-studio lighting environment, so you are really relying on the sun to create a backlit green screen in the outdoors. So in other words, you want your green screen to be set up against the directional lighting of the sun. Of course, everything else from using markers for tracking and using a white sheet of paper with magenta green glasses still apply to the setup and preparations of an outdoor green screen. Anyway, there's definitely more you can do with the green screen, but as for the basics of setting it up, that's that. Again, for anything else, it all depends on the production and its special and unique cases. So, Now that we're done with that, let's proceed to the next step, capturing data on set for post.